Welcome to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood. Tim is a retirement and income specialist, certified financial fiduciary, and the founder of SafeMoneyRetirement.com. Tim primarily serves Western North Carolina, East Tennessee, and Southwest Virginia, but he's sought after nationally for his expertise in helping people secure their retirements. Mr. Wood is a licensed life insurance professional in multiple states and specializes in working with people who are near retirement and those who have already retired with wealth management, income planning, and asset protection strategies using life, health, long-term care, and annuity insurance products. And now, here to talk with you about securing your retirement, your host, Tim Wood.
Hello, this is Tim Wood, your host, welcoming you to the Safe Money Retirement Show. I'm an asset and retirement protection specialist and your one-stop source for capital preservation and strategic income planning. Time and time again, when retirees or those starting to plan for retirement are asked what their biggest concern is moving into retirement and then 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 years longer, by far, it's almost always running out of money before they run out of life. You know, am I going to live too long to outlive my money and wind up having to live with, my son-in-law that I can't stand or whatever? So we're going to discuss that. We're going to look at some facts, and then we're going to look at some potential things that can help you overcome longevity risk. First, if you don't already have a copy of my book, Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success, you owe it to yourself to get a free copy. We'll send you a copy absolutely free, no obligation. Just give us a call, 833-413-SAFE, or log right onto our website, SafeMoneyRetirement.com. You need this book because it is going to help you plan and be able to overcome longevity risk. That's the number one risk you need to take off the table, by far. That if you take longevity risk off the table, yes, there are still some other risks, but if you can take longevity risk off the table, you have taken a major piece of the challenges in retirement completely off the table. So let's first look at some numbers and see how this is going to relate, and then we'll get into some ways that you can overcome longevity risk. So first, what are the numbers now? If you are alive at 65 right now, these are relatively new numbers. At 65, males, our average life expectancy goes to 84.3. Females goes to 86.6. So males basically at 65 on average got about 19 years. Females got about 21 years. Now, you need to also keep in mind, 1 in 4 will live past 90, and 1 in 10 are going to live past 95. And with medical advancements, I think those numbers are just going to continue to go up, who knows how high. So the point is, you need to make sure that you are going to have enough income for from 65 to 85 or from 65 to 95 or maybe even from 65 to 105 or longer. Well, how can you do that in this world that there's, most people don't have a pension anymore? How can we do that? We're going to discuss that. One more thing that I think is interesting, I'm just looking at this report right now. A male that's born in 1961, when he gets to 62 years old, his average life expectancy is 84. If he makes it to 67, his average life expectancy goes up to 85. If he makes it to 70, his average life expectancy goes up to 86. So again, it's really important to make sure that you know what your long-term plan is and how you can take that longevity risk off the table, especially with all the medical advancements going on. I was just reading an article about 3 weeks ago. They now have little capsules that people can swallow with cameras that are so small they can put a camera in the capsule, you can swallow it, and it can go into your body and help take care of specific things. It's amazing the medical advancements that are coming and that are already here. So making sure we can take longevity risk off the table for as many people as possible is going to be absolutely huge and absolutely critical in making sure that they can enjoy their retirement. So how can we do that? What can we do to take running out of money before you run out of life totally off the table? Well, what we can do, first of all, is we can put what you need for a guaranteed income when you retire at 65 or 70 or whenever you're retiring, 62. I've got some clients that are retiring even earlier. Whenever you're going to retire, number one, we need to make sure you're going to have enough income to cover what you need when you retire. So that's the number one thing that we're going to do, and we're going to do that with a guaranteed lifetime income annuity from a top A-rated life insurance company. That's the first thing that we're going to do. That's going to give you the guarantees that you know that you, and if we set it up this way, you and your spouse will continue to get that paycheck for as long as you and or your spouse, we can do it for both of you, as long as either one of you are breathing. That check's going to come. That check is going to just keep coming every single month. Now, not only does this help to take longevity risk off the table, it also helps to increase happiness in retirement. It also helps with wanting to spend that check. Because if you don't know you've got a check coming next month, the one you get this month, you might hold tight to the vest. But if you know there's another one coming next month, and then the month after there's another one coming, and then the month after that, it's a lot easier to spend that one because you know more's coming. Without a doubt, 100%, more's coming. And that also lowers stress levels, which that's a whole other topic. We know that lowering stress in retirement is massive as far as the health benefits it can bring. So lowering those stress levels is huge, but that's almost another topic. But basically, that's the first thing. That's step number one, is we get you enough income when you retire. Step number two, then, is we make sure that you have got some income you can turn on later that will continue to grow, that you can turn on later to help offset inflation. Once we have both of those things in place, that takes longevity risk off the table. Because what we will do is we'll sit down and we'll look at, okay, what are your expenses? What's your Social Security going to be? And we'll determine when you're going to retire and what the Social Security is going to be at that time. And then we're going to look at how much do you need when you retire. Okay, well, we take care of that. Now, Social Security is going to have the cost of living increases, of course. We know that. It's got the COLAs. But sometimes the COLAs aren't enough. So if you get to a position where the COLA is not enough, we have some of those smaller accounts that are going that just continue to grow and continue to grow and continue to grow that you can turn on later to supplement your plan and your Social Security to make sure you've got enough. And then you can have more growing that you can turn on even later. That is how you overcome longevity risk. That is how you make sure you are not going to run out of money before you run out of life. This is imperative. This is the number one thing people need to focus on when they are planning for their retirement, is they have got to make sure that they're going to have enough income for the rest of their lives, no matter what. And this is how you do it. This is how you overcome longevity risk. A guaranteed lifetime income annuity is the only product out there in the market. Let me say this again. The only plan, the only product out there in the market other than pensions, and in a pension you would have had to gotten from a employer. Most of us don't have that anymore. If you do, congratulations. But even then, a lot of them are too small to cover what you need. So what we do is we use guaranteed lifetime income annuities from top-rated life insurance companies that have been around, some of them for 150 years. We use these companies. They will guarantee they're going to pay you as long as you live, as long as your wife lives as well, if we set it up that way. And then that's going to make sure that you're going to have enough income for the rest of your life, take longevity risk totally off the table, and make sure that you never run out of money before you run out of life. Since I have to take a break, now would be a great time to call for your complimentary copy of my book, Safe Money Retirement, Your Game Plan for Success. My number is 833-413-SAFE. That's 833-413-7233. Isn't it time to stop exposing your retirement to market risk? You're listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with Tim Wood.
The market goes up and the market goes down. It always has and it always will. But if you are in or near retirement, do you have time to wait for the market to go through these cycles? Think about it. Having your money invested in the market is like walking next to the edge of a cliff. What if you lose your step? What if the edge gives way? What if a strong wind blows you over the side? It's good to stay away from the edge of disaster in life, and when it comes to being exposed to financial risk, it's no different. Shouldn't you try to protect the money you depend on for your retirement income? Pick up the phone and call us now to receive your complimentary Safe Money Information Kit. Call 833-413-SAFE. That's 833-413-7233. Call now for your complimentary copy of the Safe Money Retirement Book and Information Kit. Once again, our number is 833-413-SAFE. That's 833-413-7233. You're listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood.
Welcome back to the Safe Money Retirement Show. I'm Tim Wood, a Safe Money Retirement Specialist. In today's case file, we are going to look at Rachel's story. Rachel was a sweet widow. She's 74 years old. Unfortunately, her husband recently passed away, and he left her both qualified pre-tax, which are tax deferred like an IRA or a 401k, money that hadn't had the taxes paid on it. He left her those type of accounts, and also non-qualified or after-tax type of IRA accounts. Now, rather than being forced to take RMDs, most of y'all know what that is. That's the required minimum distributions that you are required to take starting based on your age, either at 73 or at 75, or some of you was even sooner if you've already there. She didn't want to have to worry about that. What she wanted to do was she wanted to turn the funds that were qualified or that she knew she had to pay taxes on, she wanted to go ahead and turn that into a guaranteed income for the rest of her life, because when you turn one of these into a guaranteed income plan, that covers your RMDs. So what we did was we took after we met by Zoom, we actually met multiple times by Zoom. What we did is we actually put together a plan that allowed her to take that qualified money and put that into a guaranteed lifetime income plan that's going to pay her a monthly check for the rest of her life, covers her RMDs. Now, her second concern was that she had 3 daughters. And she wanted to make sure they were all 3 taken care of as much as they possibly could be when she passed. So what we looked at for that, now, first of all, in her income plan, if she hasn't used all the principal, 100% of that's going to go to her kids as well. But she wanted to make sure, so what we did is we actually also looked at a life insurance plan for her, and we got her one through a guaranteed issue plan that still will give them a nice little chunk when she's gone. So we did a fixed indexed annuity with an income rider to give her the guaranteed paycheck for the rest of her life, takes care of her RMDs, and then we also take care of her 3 daughters with life insurance because she wants to make sure they at least get a little chunk. Even if she outlives the money in the income plan and there's nothing left to go, she wanted to make sure they were going to get some. She was thrilled. Her 3 daughters were thrilled because they were part of the conversation as well. And of course, I was thrilled to help this wonderful family. Well, I'm about out of time, and I would like to thank you for listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show. If you're serious about your financial future, give me a call, and together we'll get your retirement savings on the fast track to accumulate while reducing exposure to market loss. Thanks for listening, and until next time at the same time, I'm Tim Wood reminding you to stay safe so you can step into a secure future.
You've been listening to the Safe Money Retirement Show with your host, Tim Wood. Find out how to contractually guarantee that your hard-earned money is safe from market losses and that you have an income you can't outlive so you can have the retirement that you deserve. Call Tim Wood now for your complimentary Safe Money Retirement Book and Information Kit at 833-413-SAFE. That's 833-413-7233. Or request your copy of Tim's book online at safemoneyretirement.com. The preceding information does not represent tax, legal, or investment advice. Surrender charges apply to base contracts. Optional lifetime income benefit riders are used to calculate lifetime payments only and are not available for cash surrender or in a death benefit unless specified in the annuity contract. Fees may apply. Guarantees are based on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the insurance company. No information presented today should be acted upon without meeting with a qualified and licensed professional. Obviously, by calling us now, you are just taking the first step towards protecting your retirement. It's important that you read all insurance contract disclosures carefully before making a purchase decision. Rates and returns mentioned on this program are subject to change without notice.